Hi there, and welcome to the latest episode of Chip Shop Chat, where I talk to entrants to this year's Chip Shop Awards about what it is that they've entered, their ideas, and a bit of the background as to what inspired those ideas. Can I ask my guests for this episode to introduce themselves, please?
Hi, my name is Jack Glasscock. I'm a conceptual copywriter at an agency called TCC in Ascot.
And I'm Steve Frith. I am a conceptual art director at the same agency, TCC.
Cheers, guys. Thanks for joining me. I really liked, everything I've chosen for this series I've really liked, but I thought the idea that you guys have come up with was really quite simple but clever. And would you be able to talk to our audience about what it is you've entered and where the idea came from?
Sure. So we did one of the creative shop window cards. We did an ad for NHS, and we've just called it "Catch It, Bin It, Kill It." Funny enough, inspired. Well, I say funny, but it's not. Inspired by the global pandemic. For us, it wasn't actually a case of we weren't in lockdown. We did this a little while ago when it was a news story. Doing the rounds, and then what we've done is sort of looked at it from the parameters of what we could play with, be it the postcard. We've removed the postcard, we've replaced it with a tissue, and then for the blue tack, we've obviously then replicated what a virus might look like, displaced over the tissue, and that be it our ad. We've always particularly liked that postcard category because it is quite. There's only so many variables that we could use in a creative way, and actually, whilst the Chip Shop Awards is fantastic because obviously it's creativity with no limits, this one seems still quite niche in regards to what we can do. So actually, it pushes ideation because actually you've got to keep bettering it, and over the years, which is again something that we've kept an eye on anyway. There's been some fantastic entries for that particular category. So it's always been something we've wanted to strive to beat, if you like.
And is it an actual tissue then? How did you make the ad itself?
Well, for that one, it's just a bit of retouching, really. Photoshop at its finest. Obviously, we're on lockdown now, so it's not a case of being able to go to the shop and do a mock-up and take a nice picture of it. But yeah, that would be our Photoshop skills at work.
Yeah, and Jack, I guess it's a piece of work that I can actually see having been really effective prior to lockdown, when I guess people were still allowed to go to the shops. But how do you think it could have worked in practice in the real world?
I'm not sure how effective sticking a tissue to a window like that in the real world, especially at the moment, would go down too well. But certainly for the Chip Shop Awards, we're hoping it's going to work well. We like it at least. Echo some of Steve's thoughts from before. The postcards themselves, that category, appealed to us quite a lot because there's something that in the real world anyone can do physically. Like not everyone could make an ad or put together a video or whatever, but everyone can make a postcard and stick it in their local corner shop. And the same way that Chip Shop Awards allows anyone to enter, anyone can make a postcard. So there's this kind of like really nice dovetailing of worlds, this availability and accessibility. So it's quite nice, but yeah, in terms of how that would actually roll out in store windows, I'm not sure about that idea, to be honest.
So you were saying earlier on, Steve, these are the only creative awards with no limits. How for the both of you as creatives, how freeing is that? Is that a great experience for you, or is it just not practical or not realistic? What do you think of it?
Oh, for sure. Well, as creatives, the Chip Shop Awards is something that we've always been looking at all the time, because actually a lot of the time we'll be working on some client brief, and then you think, well, if only I could do this, but we know we can't. We've been doing it for quite some time now. We know what we can get away with clients. But at the same time, we always jot it down with like, you know what, for the Chip Shop Awards, when it comes to it, this will be a perfect entry. It wasn't the case for this one in particular, but it's definitely when we've been working on past projects, we've always had that in mind. again, like you say, is it great? Absolutely, it's great. It's fantastic. When a lot of the time when it comes to trying to get the sell-in with clients and stuff, obviously we have to be quite refined with getting it over the line. But when it comes to these sort of briefs, certainly even if you're a student, I think actually the Chip Shop Awards for me, it was when we was when I was doing my masters. That's when it came to light, and absolutely for a student, it's all sort of proactive stuff anyway, isn't it? And for that, actually, it was very inspiring. So it's definitely doing its bit.
Jack, I'd like you both to tell me why you think, we've not announced the nominations yet, why does this not only deserve a nomination, but it should win a chip? Tell me what you think should make it a winning entry.
I think handling a topic like this at the moment is very sensitive. Mm-hmm. And I think that, brands in the real world at the moment are having to, tread around things, be careful about how they talk, be very empathetic, be very sympathetic. And I think the way that we kind of approach this one achieves that. It's got the chip shop wit to it. It's got that pushing something that we couldn't necessarily do on a client brief or with the NHS or something. Like I was saying to you before, I don't think sticking a tissue to a window with blue tack like that would go down particularly well. But I think in terms of treading that line between interesting, effective and witty and funny and just a nice way of using the media that we've been given, I think that's why it deserves a nomination and a win.
Steve, how sensitive did you have to be while thinking of this? Were you wary of sensitivities?
Yeah, and more to what sort of Jack was saying, absolutely. By not saying much on the actual advert, we're saying a lot more, you see. So those sensitivities around the ad wouldn't work if we had a line with it, or if we tried to push it too far. It's the simplicity, it's the fact that it doesn't look like everything else, which is going to be in a shop window. That creates a standout, and that's where the creative execution is obviously going to catch someone's eye and be informative.
Well, as I say, nominations will be announced in the coming weeks. Good luck to you both. I hope to see you on that list, and who knows, maybe even further. I love the idea. So good luck to you both, and thank you for joining me.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Stephen. Appreciate your time.
And thank you to you, the viewer, for joining us as well. Lots more Chip Shop chat to come to look at more of the entries from this year. Stay tuned to the Drum website for that. Thank you.